Alright, we should be live. Microphone looks good. No capture. Alright, back, and we are starting a brand new Commander deck. Um, I was going to try and wait for Thunder Junction, because the spoiler season is like this week, but that's still 3 weeks before we have the full set, and I didn't do a Fallout Commander because I lost like a week and a half on vacation. So there are two commanders that I was back and forth between. Obviously, I chose Mr. House because he's here on my Twitter page as my next commander. The other one was the robot dog. I think his name is Rex. The blue white one that you can pay energy counters and exile cards from like creature cards from graveyards to give him their activated abilities. So he's kind of like Marcel the Pretender in that regard. Excuse me. So, Mr. House, I think, is easier to build around, though. Like, Rex is way more open ended in what I would need for him, whereas Mr. House is very focused on dice rolling, especially. So. And apparently, I'm going to, like, choke to death now because I started streaming, and how dare I? Seriously, I'm fine right up until I start talking into the microphone, and then it's like, oh, by the way, here's like a gallon of phlegm that wasn't there before. Enjoy choking to death on that. So, the bright side of having Mr. House, don't you sass me. I'm already annoyed that I'm choking to begin with. Don't you start with your, oh, you were on this page for like 20 seconds before you click search, so now I'm going to cry about it instead of letting you search for the things you wanted to and try and delete it. Like, you know, I'm not particularly computer savvy. The fact that I figured out how to make it put in all of my stuff without having to put it back in manually says a lot about how often that happens. That I had to figure out what the actual way to fix it was, or stumbled into it out of frustration. Anyway, so we get to start off with Adventures in the Forgotten Realms, which is usually the most throwaway set of the group because it has a lot of insular and parasitic mechanics that we don't care about at all, like the venture into the dungeon and whatnot. So we'll see cards that are good with those strategies, but then there won't be any more support for them later on, and we'll just be like, no, we're cutting all these cards. Mr. House wants to roll dice, and the higher the value of the dice, like the more sides they have, the better it is for him because that increases his odds of triggering both of his things. So, whenever you roll a 4 or higher, you get a 3/3 colorless robot artifact creature token. Whenever you roll a 6 or higher, you also make a treasure token. And he has 4 tap, roll a 6-sided die, and an additional 6-sided die for each mana from a treasure spent to activate this ability. So 6-sided dice are nice and all in that you have, a 3 in 6 chance of making a robot, so 50-50, and a 1 in 6 chance of making a treasure token also. But if you're rolling d20s, you have, you have like 17 numbers that will give you what you want for just getting the robot, or 16 numbers that'll give you what you want for getting the robot, and another 14 numbers that will get you your treasure also. Or 14 numbers that will get you the robot and the treasure. So, same range for getting both, but like difference between the original roll, like yeah. Alright, maybe it's not just that I choke to death, maybe I just can't talk. Anyway, you know what I mean. You've got so many numbers you can roll that will get you the robot, and most of them will also get you the treasure too at that point. So we want like rolling d20 cards. So out of all of them, Baldur's Gate and Adventures in the Forgotten Realms have actually the most cards that Mr. House will want. And it also means that Unfinity will actually have things that he'll be interested in also, between the things that manipulate dice rolls and the things that let you roll more dice. So alright, so one of the important things is when you ignore the results on the lower die, that means you ignore them. Like, that die didn't happen. So, even though I get to roll an additional d20, I don't get to make 2 robots and 2 treasures if they both come up really high. It just means that I get the better result. But we still probably are interested in Barbarian class. So, clear all those off for right now, and we go Forgotten Realms. Ooh, excuse me. And we are very interested in a Barbarian class. Because we do still want that extra die roll anyway, just to increase the chances of hitting Mr. House's actual thing. It took me a minute. I was about to call him, I think, Mr. Glass, and it's just like, no, that's Samuel L. Jackson from M. Night Shyamalan movies. That's not who I'm building at all. Although, with how the Universes Beyond stuff is going, who knows? Maybe that'll be an option. Anyway, so getting to reroll extra dice is huge for this deck because it also lets us roll the d6s twice and keep the better result. So, if we roll a 1 and a 4, we actually get our robot. Whereas if we had just rolled the 1, we wouldn't get anything. So, and because Mr. House is already letting us roll extra dice if we spend with treasure, we get to double all of those dice and keep the better results. So eventually we will be rolling dice like we're casting Fireball at 20th level, and that's where I want to be at. I don't think we need any of the dungeon stuff because you don't roll dice for the dungeons. So if there was a thing in the dungeons where you rolled the d20 and got a result based on it or something, but the dungeons don't have room for that much text. So we're probably just looking for the dice rolling cards here. And we want ones that roll dice probably like every turn, more so than we would want ones that roll a die when we can. Like, we don't want Faraday's Fireball as much as we would like that one ogre that makes treasure when it attacks based on your die roll. Like, Chaos Channeler is fine, and we might want it, but it's not one of the ones that we're like super excited for. Like, I'm way more interested in the ogre that makes treasure than the Chaos Channeler, but it's probably still good enough to consider. We're only going to get like 3 sets that care about dice rolling to go along with Mr. House, so we want as many of the good ones as we can get. And 2 commander decks, like, because the 2 Baldur's Gate, the 2 Forgotten Realms, the Forgotten Realms and the Baldur's Gate ones have extra dice rolling cards in them. Although a lot of them are going to be like I forget what the cycle is called, but they all let you roll 2 of the same size dice, and then one result becomes one effect, and the other result becomes the other effect. And like, you choose which one is which, and those ones are just so terribly costed. Like, they're always costed as though you hit really high, and the fact that they're only legal in Commander and like Vintage and Legacy, and they're dice rolling, it's like you could have skewed them a little more towards the middle of the roll, so that way you could get your mana's worth if you rolled high. Like, I know they didn't want dice rolling cards to be like huge tournament staples for the most part, because they didn't want they don't want the world champion being decided by how well you rolled a d20. But at the same time, they like the random elements that the dice rolls bring in, and they like the flavor for Dungeons and Dragons of making you roll a d20 to do stuff. So they kind of split the difference. But that means that a lot of the cards with dice rolling on them aren't super powerful. Alright, do we actually want critical hit? The answer is I don't think so. It doesn't let us roll dice. And giving double strike to like one of our robots isn't that impressive. They're 3/3s. Mr. House himself is an 0/4. So it's not like he's going to be doing a ton of commander damage. Don't need the dancing sword. Dawn cleric, no. Deadly dispute. Like I do want treasure, but I think we can do better than deadly dispute. Yeah, treasure we'll be able to get from a lot of other things. Delna or Delina Wild Mage, yes. Because every time you get a 15 or higher, you get to roll again, which means more triggers for House, so. That is definitely one of the ones we're looking for. Delina Wild Mage is 3 in a red for an Elf Shaman. 3/2. Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have access to the fairy, which makes me wonder if we want anything to animate enchantments or something so that we can turn Barbarian class into a creature that she could target, so that way we could do the thing where you essentially make infinite tokens. Like, eventually it becomes mathematically improbable for you to lose the die roll. Den of the Bugbear, Devoted Paladin, our Intellect, no. Smite, no. 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 Dungeon Crawler and the Descent. Map. Nope. This is when it enters the battlefield. Yeah, I don't think I'm planning to blink this thing repeatedly. So, that's not really where I want to be at. Yeah, all the one-shot dice rolling I'm probably not in for. Like, again, Faraday's Fireball. Not really doing what we need it to. Face Reversal, Feign Death, Feet of Rope, no. Not planning on running a ton of equipment. Flame Skull. I do want treasure, but I think we can do better than Forsworn Paladin in generating it. Do I want to put it on the list now so I can, like, ditch it later, most likely anyway? Maybe. Maybe I put it on the list just in case. Is black for a human knight? Okay. Don't need the cube or the Gloomstalker. Morningstar, no, that's another one where we just roll the die the one time. Don't need Guardian of Faith. Didn't need Grandmaster, right? Okay, didn't think so, but hurt to double check. Hand of Vecna, no. That is 6 mana to roll a d20. I have to believe we can be doing so much better as far as mana sinks go than 6 mana. Hoarding Ogre, that's the one that makes treasure when it attacks. So, Hoarding Ogre, I'm in for. And it's 3 in a red. Oops. 3 in a red for an Ogre. 3/3. Don't need the Hobgoblin. Captain. Bugbear. Icing Death, no. Invarno, no. No. Sellsword, no. would I care at all about Kalane if I'm going to try and make a lot of treasure to, or if I'm going to be making a lot of treasure, ideally? Like, that's the thing, too. Like, House both makes treasure and gives you bonuses for spending treasure, so. Do we want Kalane? Probably want to consider him. So, Kalain. Inclusive painter. Painter. He's a human elf bard. 1, 2. Yeah. Keen-eared sentry, no. Kicking the door, no. Armor. Lightfoot rogue. It's a 2-mana creature, so it can come down the turn before Mr. House and then attack after we cast him to roll a d20 to get him started. It's a really bad card in the mid to late game, though, because it needs a 20 to do the whole first strike death touch thing. So otherwise, it's probably just trading for, like, random tokens. The upside is that players that don't have random tokens, they're trading a real card for it. But it's probably still not great. Again, we're only going to have so many cards that let us do dice rolling, so you have to take the best out of the group, even if they're not amazing cards. Don't need Lolth. Loyal Warhound, no. Manticore. Don't need the Meteor Swarm. Venomous Containment. Minion of the Mighty. No. No. That one cares about dungeon completion. Don't need Orcus. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed artifact's mana value. If there were a bunch of 1-drop artifacts that I would want to get out of our deck, I could see that, but I don't think we need it. Paladin class or the shield. It's a dungeon one. Need the Plunderer. Portable Hole. Power Word Kill. No. Yeah, Price of Loyalty isn't, like, a threaten's already not that impressive. Giving the creature +2/+0 isn't gonna do anything to change that. No. No. Talisman. Don't need the Rust Monster. Shamblegast. Don't think so. Skullport Merchant. Maybe? Being able to turn the treasures or the robots, if need be, into cards. Merchant is 2 in the black for a dwarf citizen. Four. Alright, Spare Dagger, no. Sphere of Annihilation. Spike Pit Trap. Think so. Swarming Goblins. Teleportation Circle. Temple of the Dragon Queen. The books. The Deck of Many Things. 2 tap, roll a d20, subtract the number of cards in your hand. If the result is 0 or less, discard your hand. 1 through 9, return a card at random from your graveyard to your hand. 10 through 19, draw 2 cards, and 20, put a creature card from any graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When that creature dies, its owner loses the game. I don't expect to empty our hand very often. We're in black, among other things, so having access to effects like Phyrexian Arena type things where we can just draw an extra card each turn for a very low investment is going to be a thing. That being said, if we can roll multiple dice for each thing, as long as we don't have like 8 or 10 cards in our hand, as long as we have a realistic chance of rolling above 0. So, deck of many things is 5 for an artifact. Alright. Thieves' Tools, no. Tiger Tribe, no. Treasure Chest. It's 7 mana. Yeah, I don't think so. Triumphant Adventurer, no. Treasure Vault. I don't think we actually need the Treasure Vault. That doesn't seem like the card I'm desperately searching for. It's still a land, though, so we might be able to use it anyway, just because it's not taking up a spell slot. The problem is, in order for me to feel good about running Treasure Vault, I need some number of I need at least Crucible, possibly another Crucible variant, if I'm going to run Treasure Vault, because just running it as a way to turn my land into a pile of treasure isn't actually something I'm super interested in a lot of the time. Veteran Dungeoneer, no. Vorpal Sword, Warlock class, Wish. You want the Zorn? We want extra treasure. I think we want the Zorn anyway. 2 and a red for an elemental. 3/2. You come to the Knoll camp, no. Find some prisoners, no. Hear something on watch. See a pair of goblins. Ambushed on the road. The Wanty. Zalto. Zariel. No. And Zombie Ogre. Alright. That was Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. And now we need Scryfall because Adventures in the Forgotten Realms commander is weird. Oh, wrong section. Red. And the set is Forgotten Realms commander. Search. And sort. I don't think we care about Prosper. Like, that's an entirely different thing altogether, trying to care about casting spells from exile or from anywhere other than our hand. Oh no, it is specifically from exile for Prosper. Okay. Another target creature you control gains indestructible whenever creature planeswalker. Yeah, don't need that. Don't need the Holy Avenger. I think we need the immovable rod. Mantle of the Ancients, no. Radiant Solar, no. Revivify. Roll a d20, add the number of creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Turn all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there this turn to the battlefield. Oh no, return them to your hand or return them to the battlefield for the 15 plus. Robe of Stars, no. Whenever you attack, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, venture. The Endeavors, that's what they were called. So roll 2d6, choose one result, destroy each creature with power greater than or equal to that result, then create a number of 2/2 Knight creature tokens with vigilance equal to the other. Nope. For 6 mana, no. Whenever you sacrifice another non-token artifact or creature, exile it, and then you can get them back occasionally. Draw a card. Dance Macabre. Each player sacrifices a non-token creature. Roll a d20. Add the toughness of the creature you sacrifice this way. Return a creature put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. Return up to 2. Yeah, it's not really that impressive. The Death Tyrant, no. So I was rereading them just to make sure, but I don't think we need it. Roll 2d10, choose one result, return a creature card from a graveyard to the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to that result. Then each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the other. Nope. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create 2 treasure tokens. Sacrifice X treasures. Target creature gets -X/-X as a sorcery. Do I care at all about Grim Hireling? I get 2 treasures each time I hit an opponent in combat. So if I can hit, like, both of our opponents or all 3 of them, depending on how big the game is, I can get like 4 to 6 treasures out of it. I have to be able to hit everybody, which may or may not be viable. Suppose I will consider Grim Hireling. Oh. Here to Commander. Grim Hireling. I spell Hireling. H-I-R-E. Ah. Spelled it Airling. Hireling. There we go. Is 3 and a black for a Tiefling Rogue. And they're a 3/2. Alright. Don't need Hellish Rebuke. I don't think I need Lorcan. Don't need the of Orcus. Berserker's Frenzy. Cast the spell only before combat or during combat before blockers are declared. Roll 2d20 and ignore the lower roll. Choose any number of creatures. They block this turn if able. You choose which creatures block this turn and how those creatures block. Beginning of combat on your turn, each player rolls a d20. If one or more opponents had the highest result, Chaos Dragon can attack those players or planeswalkers they control this combat. So it lets me roll a d20, but it also might not do anything depending on how many opponents I have left and what they rolled. But it is a 3 mana roll a d20 creature each turn. So maybe Chaos Dragon. 1 red for a dragon 4/4. Don't need Fiend Lash. Maddening Hex. Whenever enchanted player casts a non-creature spell, roll a d6. Maddening Hex deals damage to that player equal to the result. Then attach Maddening Hex to another one of your opponents chosen at random. Eh. Roll 2d12, choose one result, deals that much damage to each creature, and then make treasure. So that would kill like our entire robot army a lot of the time because of how it works. Like, especially if we have any of the things where we have to ignore the lower result, so we would have to take the two high results and make a bunch of treasure and kill all of our robots and probably Mr. House while we're at it. So I don't think so. No to share the spoils. Full Ancestor, no. A Magic Sorcerer, no. Suspicions, Hurl Through Hell. Need Terazakar. One tap, roll a d4, create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result. The player to your right gains control of Bucknard's Everfull Purse. Don't think so. 6 mana to make it monstrous and roll a d8. That determines how many counters it gets. And when it becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. Probably not. Alright, am I at all interested in the component pouch? So I can tap and remove a counter for it to add 2 mana of different colors. And I can tap it to roll a d20 and either get 1 or 2 counters put on it. So eventually it's a mana rock that encourages me to roll a d20 every turn just by tapping. So basically it's a free d20 roll if I need it, and if I need the mana more, I can do that instead. Yeah, I suppose we consider that one too. Yeah, the other big problem with the dice rolling is that when we get to Infinity, it's going to be entirely D6s. So we have to take advantage of the D20s and the other larger dice from the Forgotten Realms. 4 to roll a D6 and have it become an XX. Deals combat damage. I roll a d12. Yeah, it seems like a lot of effort to roll a d12 every turn. And I don't think I need the Underdark Rift. Alright. So I think we're good in that regard. After Adventures in the Forgotten Realms is our good old friend Aether Revolt. Don't need the Automaton. Aerial Mods, no. No. Don't need Aether Creatures. Aether Sphere Harvester. Airdrop, no. Battle at the Bridge, no. Call for Unity, no. Cogwork Assembler, no. Consulate Crackdown. Turret, Conviction. Construct. Mr. House does tap for his other ability, right? Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Is there a way I can, like, keep activating Mr. House enough times with enough re-rolls and everything where I could just keep making treasure and possibly, like, not go infinite, but maybe Crackdown Construct gets, like, +10/+10 in a single turn or something? But no, that's not a thing. Cruel Finality, Daredevil Dragster, Daring Demolition new, Eagle, Deadeye, Mission new, new, nope, new, Fatal Push, Felidar Guardian. I don't need the Regent. Frontline Rebel new. Osprey new. Flint Sleeve. Aether Heart. Machinations. Am I at all interested in the Herald of Anguish? Like, between the robots and the treasure, we should have a ton of artifacts for improvise. To the point where we could cast this for functionally 2 black mana and tapping a bunch of our treasures instead of sacrificing them. Which then leaves us with a bunch of treasure for the activated ability. I suppose I will at least consider it. So, Aether Revolt. This is the Herald of Anguish. 5 black for a demon. 5/5. Hidden Stockpile. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, create a 1/1 colorless servo token, and 1 sacrifice a creature, scry 1. So we have treasure that we're sacrificing at the very least. We might be able to do something with Hidden Stockpile. Hidden Stockpile. Play black for an enchantment. Like, I am expecting to have a critical mass of artifact creatures from the robots that Mr. House is making and artifacts in general because of the treasures we'll frequently be making, so. Hope of Gyurper, no. Hungry Flames. So I'm very interested in things that let us turn a whole bunch of artifacts into other things. Do I want Indomitable Creativity, then? Controller reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal an artifact or creature. The problem is, I think the win cons are going to be enchantments that play off of them. I think. I guess it's possible we still want Indomitable Creativity, though. Is X red sorcery. We'll have to see what our actual things that let us combo off are. Don't think I need the statuary, though. Karizev's expertise. If Crafter's Bestiary, no, because it's green. I don't really need Metallic Mimic on robots. I don't think. It feels more like a drop in the bucket type thing, where if I'm making all these robots, having some of them be 4/4s is not what I desperately needed. Reckless Racer, no. Release the Gremlins, no. Renegade Wheelsmith, Renegade Map. Getaway, Reservoir Walker. Don't think I need Restoration Specialist. Although I am planning on running a bunch of artifacts and enchantments, I'm thinking right now, so the 2-for-1 on her. Although there will be other cards, and I'll be like, no, I want to run these instead. She's a Dwarf Artificer 2/1. Oops, I forgot her casting cost. Fighting 1. Dwarf Artificer. Because I usually put her on lists where I have a ton of powerful artifacts and enchantments that I'm going to need in play to do their thing, and then I keep cutting her because we wind up running things like Brilliant Restoration or something, and that's how I'm getting them all back. Yeah, I don't think this is a Scrap Trawler deck. Like, all of the artifacts are too cheap. Similarly, Sly Requisitioner requires non-tokens. Can't just make more tokens. Then again, she go infinite with a free sack outlet, so that makes sense. Don't need to get her and Goblin Bombardment into play and just insta-win the game. Opter Arrest, Treasure Keeper, Untethered Express, Walking Ballista, no. Engineer, don't need Yahenni for their expertise. Alright, so that was Aether Revolt. That brings us to Alara Reborn. I don't think I need much from Alara Reborn. Anathemancer, no. Bitblast, no. Alphagore, no. Deathbringer, Defiler, Onic Dread. Defiler's kind of funny because our robots are colorless and our commander is 3 color, so I can't sacrifice either of them to Defiler if he's in play, but I'm sure I'll have some number of monocolor creatures that it'll eat up. Onic Dread, Demon Spine Whip, destroy all blocking creatures and all blocked creatures. Nope. Don't need Glory. Identity Crisis. Really? Bouncer, no. Intimidation Bolt, no. Bomber, Lightning Reaver. If your end step deals damage equal to number of charge counters on it to each opponent. I think so. I don't need the Necromancer's Covenant. No. Singe Mind Ogre. Their hand then loses life equal to that card's mana value. I think so. Stun Sniper, no. Painted Sigil, Terminate. Bot Hemorrhage. Agents. Banefire Border Post, and Zealous Persecution. Okay. Alara Reborn. Alara is Alliances. Don't think there's anything from Alliances we're going to super want, but maybe I'm forgetting something. Like, when I think Alliances, obviously I think Force of Will first and foremost. So when I'm running a blue deck and we get to alliances, like, oh good, we definitely have a card to add. Other colors, not so much. Yeah, don't care about Burnout, Carrier Pigeons, Contagion, no. Vermin, no. We're going to be running white permanent, so we don't need Dystopia. Exile, no. Fatal Lore. Bloodwater Dam. Mox Monkey. Yeah, definitely don't want any Mox Monkeys near this deck. Krovikan Horror, Krovikan Plague, Imdul's High Guard, Paladin, Groundbreaker, Misinformation. Up to 3 target cards from an opponent's graveyard on top of their library in any order. Nope. Double Steed, Omen of Fire, Rexian Portal, War Beast, Justice, Rogue Sky Captain, Stars of the Veteran, no. Tactician. Nope, does not look like it. Storm Cauldron, no. Spy, no. Sustaining Spirit. Sworn Defender, Thawing Glaciers. Child's War Riders. Nope, okay. Alliances. Amonkhet. Alright, Amonkhet, what have you got for me? Besides mummies. That's true, I know exactly what card this one has for us. Alright, don't need the Crasher. Don't think I need Angel of Sanctions. Do think we need Anointed Procession. Oh, hey, we're right next to Amonkhet. Anointed... too many N's at the beginning? Yeah. Procession. 3 and a white for an enchantment. I would like to double up on the number of tokens I'm making. Thank you for asking. Anointer Priest. No. Approach of the Second Sun. No. Archfiend of Ifnir. I'm not really discarding cards. Don't need the Amit. Scavenger. Lighted Bat. Bone Picker. Bond 2. Can attack or block unless a creature died under my control. Sacrifice another creature, scry 1. Each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Nah, we can do better than that. Don't need her monument either. We probably do want Canyon Slough. Don't need the Cartouches. Cascading Cataracts, no. Combat Celebrant, don't think so. Companion of the Trials. Assuming Fervor. Reality, Deem Worthy. Desiccated Naga. Can't run Destined to Lead. Prevent all damage will be dealt to it this turn. No. So much better. Dusk to Dawn with power 3 or greater. If it were power greater than 3, I'd be down. If it didn't destroy my robots, they killed everything else. Can't run Failure to Comply. Not running Faith of the Devoted. Prepare to Fight. No. Start to finish. Sacrifice a creature, destroy target creature. That's a sorcery at black and 2, and the other one makes like 2 1/1s. I think not. Forsake the Worldly. No, we can do better. Gideon of the Trials. No. Not doing anything I care about. Choose a card name. Opponents can't cast spells of the chosen name. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to you and permanents you control by sources with the chosen name. Gideon's Resolve. Glorybringer. No. No. Opponent activates an ability. No. Hazaret. No. A Heart Piercer Manticore. No. Can't run Heaven and Earth. Heaven to Earth. Attacks. Other attacking creatures get +1 power. Eh. Don't think I need Insult to Injury. Play Bear. Still can't run Destined to Lead. Don't need Death's Majesty. Mastery, no. Lord of the Accursed. Magma Spray, Manticore, Merciless Javelineers, no. Neheb the Worthy. Nope. Ketra the True, no. Ketra's Monument, not really. Vault. Right. Onward to Victory. Onward is doubles a creature's power. Yeah, I don't think Victory is going to be so good that I'm just like, yeah, that's the combat trick we want in our house deck. Plague Belcher, no. Pursue Glory, no. Don't need the Ekma. Pyramid of the Pantheon. Can't run Rags to Riches or Reduce to Rubble. Regal Caracal, no. Never to Return, no. Do we want Cut to Ribbons? Like, I kind of glossed over Cut, but do we actually care about Ribbons at all? Like, it's a fine kill a creature, like a cheap creature early, and then threat of casting Ribbons later on. Like, Exsanguinate is just better than Ribbons, except for the fact that it doesn't kill, like, a small utility creature or something, or just an early threat. That's, somebody's got it on an early board, and because of that, it's going to go unchecked for a little while and do some nasty stuff. Gotta kill that Ragavan before it steals all of your cards. Yeah, I just feel like I'd wind up cutting it. Like, it has some potential because of all the treasure we can potentially make with it. So, potential because of what we can potentially do. uh, but yeah, it's got that going on. I guess maybe I want to consider it then. Oh, good, because we haven't added a card since the Canyon. Cut to Ribbons actually gets to just go on here. So it's 1 in a red for a sorcery. And then X black for a sorcery. Like 99.9% sure it's a sorcery on both ends. Yeah, it is. Alright. So we don't need the Sacred Cat or the Scarab Feast. Better Grows does nothing. Except be illegal in our deck. Because it taps for green and therefore has the green mana symbol on it. Soulscar Mage, Sparring Mummy, start to finish again. Don't need Stir the Sands. Altering Suns, no. Pressure Lizard, no. Throne of the God Pharaoh. I don't think I need Throne of the God Pharaoh, but I am imagining the things that let me tap my creatures and or artifacts to deal damage, like Gear or Aether Grid type effects. And I'm wondering if I would want Throne of the God Pharaoh because of that, but a lot of them are going to also be treasures, so they won't trigger Throne. So I'd probably be better off with something that lets me just sacrifice my permanents to deal damage at that point. To throw in all the extra damage, opposed to Throne sitting there and maybe dealing like 2 or 3 here and there. Don't need the Trials, True Heart Duelist, or the Twins. So let's see. Target creature gains double strike. So double its power and gains double strike. Yeah, I didn't think Onward to Victory was going to be the thing. I don't need Vizier of Deferment or Remedies. Wandering Death, no. Wayward Servant, no. Alright, so that was Amonkhet, and we're just about at the actual hour mark. Like, usually I stop when we're like 50 some odd minutes in, but we're like closing in on 57 right now, so I think we can call it there. We definitely want to call it for this one. Do I want to push myself and try and get a second hour in to, like, get through this faster? I think we can probably do that. So, if you're watching this live, give me a minute. But if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.